back to the Very Simple Podcast, episode 325, returning champion Alex Gettlin.
That's impressive, dude, 325.
You know, it's funny, I have had a lot of first-time guests on the last few weeks, and they're all like, whoa, 325. I feel like I've said this for the 15th podcast in a row, but it is my longest relationship. It is just the only thing I've been consistent
Beautiful,
about.
Man.
Slowly growing. I mean, it's always slowly growing.
What year did you start this?
I think the first post was like January 2nd, 2017.
That's so dope, dude. I remember I was on in your apartment in Boston on that top
floor.
The
original Ready Set Blow podcast studio, the Bird's Nest, as I called it back then.
That was a cool spot, dude.
I know, I missed that apartment. That apartment was really fucking sick.
Yeah, didn't you have like roof access or like illegal roof access?
No, it was legal. It was legal.
Okay.
We had roof access to the private roof deck, which was nice. Had a nice view of the city.
Yeah.
My lesbian roommates were the ones who picked out the apartment and furnished it. So obviously it looked good. It had nothing to do with me doing it.
Yeah. What was that girl's name?
It was Michelle and Olivia. Shout out Michelle and Olivia.
I met one of them, I think. One of them was like super cute from what I remember.
Oh yeah. Well, if I recall correctly, it was the first time you came up. Michelle and Olivia weren't dating yet, and I remember Michelle was like, "Who's that?"
Oh, she goes both ways.
Well, I mean, she had been straight. I don't know if she definitely doesn't now. I mean, she's
I'm also married, so, you know.
Well, yeah, but you weren't at the time. Although,
right.
So this is fucking going back 5 years. I mean, let's see, 2017, so shit, almost 5 years.
I'm like reliving my, yeah. Anyway, well, it's great to be here, dude. I love your podcast.
Yeah, man, thanks, bud. I know, speaking of married guy, so how old's your kid now?
He is 15 months.
What's his name? Slobodan Milosevic? What'd you go with?
Jonah.
Jonah. Okay, very Jewish.
Yeah, it is very Jewish, yeah.
And you got a second one on the way, right?
Uh-huh.
How far along are we?
He's coming in March, I think. I'm pretty sure.
It's a he already. You already know.
Yeah.
Wait, when can they tell you that?
Like 12 weeks. They do a blood test now.
Whoa, dude.
They know really quickly.
I never understood.
They can tell you dick size. No, I'm kidding. Can you imagine?
Yeah, Jewish. He's
right.
But like, I'm surprised you could do it so early, and I'm surprised more people don't know immediately.
I think a lot of people like to wait. It's like,
it's like the surprise. But like, that's not a surprise. Like, you're
I
pregnant
guess.
is a surprise.
Yeah.
But after that, it's like, all right, don't you want to prepare?
We thought about waiting, but Rachel and I both, just like with our careers, we're always auditioning and at least putting projects out there, even with our personal business, like hitting up clients for stuff. Like we're always waiting for an answer. So she's like, let's just do this easy. Let's just find out and not.
Would you ever do a gender reveal party? That kind of guy?
We're not those kind of people. No,
I think those are the dumbest things on the planet.
I'm not like if you want to have it, like if that's fun for you, fine. But your life.
Yeah, but know that I'm judging you.
Yeah, dude. It's just
know that I think you're a fucking tool.
I mean, if science could tell us other stuff, I would. Like, if science could tell me if your kid's going to be an idiot or something like that.
Well, they can't tell if they have like Down syndrome.
That's
or,
true.
Or
you wouldn't reveal that at a party. Could you imagine?
Wow, that would be the darkest gender reveal party of all time. Like a gender reveal is like, guess what? It's a boy, and it also has cerebral palsy. Or whatever, whatever they can tell. I mean,
right.
It'd be like, oh,
yeah, totally fucked.
Just bum out all your family at once.
Yeah. Oh man, no, I'm not a big celebration guy in that. Like, I love like just hanging with friends. Like, yeah, we're having people over, but like, I don't like theatrics around stupid events.
Yeah, I don't like forced traditions. I've said that before. Like, it's like, oh, it's a tradition. It's like, just because you've always done it doesn't mean it's a good reason to continue to do it.
That's also definitely
like celebrating birthdays or this. It's like, Valentine's Day. I always go back to that one. Mother's Day. It's like, you should treat your mom good every day.
Amen to that. And also, gender reveals definitely aren't a tradition. Like, how long have they been able to tell that? Well, it can't be more than 100 years.
No, 100 years. I bet it's less than 10. Yeah, I bet it's less than 10, which is funny because, like, I feel like about 10 years ago, the gender reveal party came out. And then about 5 years ago, gender's not a construct. So you had about 5 years there where the party made sense. And now it's like, well, we don't know the gender of the kid because it hasn't decided yet.
Dude, actually, wait, now that we say that, I do remember I learned this, that the ancient Egyptians had a very, like, rudimentary gender test. And it was something to the effect of they would have a woman eat, if I remember correctly, she would eat a piece of garlic and then pee on a piece of barley. And depending on what happened with the pee, they would be able to predict somewhat accurately if it was male or female.
What? How is that even possible?
They figured it out, dude. I mean, it wasn't like
today. And you sure it was pee and it wasn't squirt?
I don't know. Yeah.
Just
vigorously masturbating in a field.
I wonder what that. Yeah, and then they eat the wheat.
Yeah, right.
They bake it into a loaf of bread with some vagina yeast, and it becomes
a. Yeah, oh my God. I'm not into, dude, I don't judge, man, but I'm not into pee stuff. I'm so turned off by anything pee.
Yeah, pee's not. I mean, anything that involves defecation.
Yeah, but some people are like,
sex juices are fine.
Right.
Excretions that get rid of waste, not okay.
That's
poop, pee.
Right.
Tears, all that.
I think
I don't like tears in my sex.
Yeah. Tears
Unless I'm the one that's crying.
Yeah. There's a fun, like, there is a window, like, if she's, like, so into it, there's some tears where it's like, oh, my God.
Oh, yeah, well, yeah.
But in general, that's...
Yeah, I don't want her sobbing, I love you.
Yeah. Yeah, that also is a turn off, yeah.
Have you ever had a girl cry during sex?
Yeah. But
like break down, like what, like...
No, not like that, but I've had girlfriends that, like, this is beautiful, you know, like...
Yeah, I had one girl who I was just casually dating way back in New York when I was still a banker, and she, like, got over-emotional during it, and it made me feel real awkward.
Yeah, well, I will preface, they were all consensually.
Well, I don't think you should have to preface every sexual interaction as consensual.
But I'm saying,
I would assume they're all consensual,
right.
unless the government and the authorities say otherwise.
But just from what I remember, we were pretty intoxicated from these times.
Yeah,
like, we went out drinking, and it was like that honeymoon window of the relationship, 3 months in, and then
this girl was in her early 20s, and I was in my early 30s.
Yeah,
so,
okay.
So she clearly she was going through some
What's
things.
the biggest age gap you've had?
Oh man, probably going up. I was in my mid to late 20s, and she was in her like mid to late 40s.
Yeah.
So call it 15, 20 years. And going down, I was probably in my mid 30s, and she was in her early. So probably 15 years both directions.
How was the 40s? Was it fun?
She totally took advantage of me. She totally Me Too'd me. So I had just gotten out of my pending nuptials with my soon to be wife.
Yeah.
And took 3 months off. Didn't do shit. Just worked.
Free agent, back out there.
No. I didn't date at all. I wanted to get my head screwed on right.
That's a smart move.
Yeah, dude. We went to therapy. Got back in the gym, do some journaling, some meditation, that kind of shit. And then I started getting back out there slowly. And then I went on a cross country road trip with my buddy. And I was I flew to Colorado. He drove across, but I met him in Colorado before we went up to basically the Montana-Canada border, then across,
nice, and
then down to San Francisco. But we were in Colorado.
That sounds awesome.
It was a great trip.
Yeah.
But I was in Colorado. I was in Boulder having a drink, and I guess some CU or I think it's CU's in Boulder. Boosters were getting tuned up for the game that day, and just started chit chatting with the group of them. It was guys and girls.
God. Yeah, you're just out like, yeah, whatever.
And they asked me, like, what are you doing out here? I'm like, I'm waiting for my buddy. We're taking a long, backpacking and cross country road trip.
How old were you?
I was 29.
Okay.
So they asked me what I was doing out there, and I told them, I just got out of a real difficult breakup, and I'm just taking some time to hit the road for a month and clear my head. And she heard that, and she put her fucking hooks in.
Dude.
And she was not taking no for an answer. I got drunk on her nickel, and,
Man. Was it fun?
Look, I'm not one of these people. I know, like, for the free drinks, I will trade sex for free drinks. I'm a cheap date.
You hear that, ladies? And men, maybe? I don't know.
Men, well, no, men, it's money.
Oh, you got to pay.
I need money. Yeah, men, you pay.
Okay.
Yeah, that's how I like my sex with men. That's for currency.
Strictly contractual for
It's business. It's business at that point.
Will you take, like, other than money? Would you take, like, gold? Would you take stocks?
Of course. I don't take Bitcoin.
No crypto.
No, that's too volatile. And also, you can't buy drugs with Bitcoin. Not anymore. They closed the Silk Road.
Oh, they did.
And dispensaries around here don't take no Bitcoin. So what good is that?
Yeah,
I don't know any bars that take Bitcoin.
I don't know where you can spend Bitcoin anymore. I don't know. I wonder if it's the other ones. I think are horseshit. I do think Bitcoin will come back just in value.
Well, the whole thing with the crypto, it's like it's totally just a fucking gamble, like any other speculative instrument. And people are like, oh, it's an alternative to fiat currency. No, it's not. Because every day Bitcoin goes up or down by 30%
Yeah.
If the U.S. dollar went up and down 30% every day,
right,
no one would use the.
Well, not only that, but you still have to exchange it back into fiat currency to really.
Yeah, well, that's
use
the other
it.
thing too. Yeah, like they say the Winklevoss brothers have $3 billion in crypto. It's like good luck cashing that all in and getting it out.
Right,
they'll tank the crypto market, dumping $3 billion in fucking Bitcoin. They really probably have about $1 billion, which is still a lot of money, but it's not real.
Yeah, I bought Bitcoin. I'm down more than I put in, but I didn't get in at the very, very top. So I got in like at a normal time.
I think about investing in cryptocurrency the same way I do about sports betting. You have a slight advantage because there is knowledge out there, right? So it's not a complete crapshoot like going to a fucking casino and putting it all on black or red.
Right.
But at any given Sunday, you're fucking dead wrong.
Yeah.
So like and I would invest in it as such. Like, whatever you're willing to lose on a game of football, that's what you should be putting in Bitcoin. You should think about it as, I don't need this money. If it just disappears, who gives a shit?
Yeah, I mean, I did that with a bunch of the other coins. I bought like $20 to $30 of like Doge and Shiba, all those stupid ones, because I was like, I don't know, like, You know, it's to me it was like a scratcher.
Yeah,
I still have them. I still have them, but I was like,
money that you won't miss.
No, right, exactly. But yeah, I definitely took I haven't.
It's not an investment; it's a gamble.
Right. I haven't bought any crypto since 2020, and I wouldn't say I regret it, but it definitely was like a good lesson of like, yeah, maybe like chill next time before. But the problem,
dude, the first time I heard about it was in 2014. A buddy of mine was like, because there was rumblings about it on Wall Street.
Yeah.
Buddy's like, hey, what do you think about this? Maybe we should put it, take a flyer, put it. And at the time, I had plenty of bread. He's like, maybe take a flyer, put in $5,000.
Yeah.
I was like, get the
What's
fuck
a
out of
flyer?
here.
What do you mean?
Meaning, $5,000 was, it wasn't it was a good amount of money, but it wasn't.
Oh, I follow it. But at the time,
like, just put a little bit in.
Yeah,
but that $5,000 now would have been like 5 million because it was 2014. Bitcoin was like 32 cents a piece or whatever it was.
Yeah. Well, the reason I got so stoked.
But then that's hindsight, right? It's like, I wish I'd done it then. It's like, I also wish I knew the lottery numbers on the Mega Millions back in 2014. I did not know that either.
I will say, in my defense, the reason I jumped in on it is I had 2 high school buddies that had bought some at a good time and cashed out to put a down payment on a house.
Yeah.
They bought a house together, made it an Airbnb. And you're like, dude, we're making money.
And they came out of the closet right after that.
Yeah, right. Yeah, maybe. But so I was like, oh shit, I should get in on it. And now we're all down a little bit. But they got an Airbnb out of it where I'm just like down.
Somebody gets, sun shines on the dog's ass twice a day, whatever the fuck they say. I just mashed 2 sayings together. A broken clock's right twice a day. And every so often the sun shines on the dog's ass.
There you go. Yeah. But
I just pulled a Chase Abel right there. Yeah. Shout out Chase Abel.
Yeah, shout out to Chase, dude.
Yeah, man. I haven't seen him in a grip, dude. I haven't been back east. I was just texting with Dylan Krasinski. I haven't been back east to Boston in fucking like a year, man.
Yeah, but you don't have family there, right?
All my family's in New York.
So. Yeah, so why would you go? I mean,
because it's Boston and I have friends and shows. So basically, I only go back when I have shows.
Oh, that makes sense. Yeah.
The whole pandemic, I didn't do shit over there because it was locked down. We did one at the end of last year, like when things first started opening up.
Yeah.
But just waiting to get booked again. Got to get to John Tobin. Shout out John Tobin.
Yeah, you're a road dog.
I mean, Jeff's a road dog. I follow.
Sure.
I ride his coattails across the country.
It's great, though, dude.
I'll be in Houston next week at Riot Comedy Club.
Hell yeah. How many weekends a year are you on the road, you think?
Probably 30 plus. Jeff does about 40, and I do the vast majority of them.
That's awesome.
I'll miss a few here or there if I got my own gigs, I got my own shit to do, or if it really isn't worth it. I mean, like there's some. I've loved all the clubs I've been to with him, but sometimes like the cost of a flight.
Yeah.
It's like to go to Albany. It's like, all right, I did Albany once when I was on the East Coast.
Right.
I'm not going to do 2 connections to get there for $100 a spot or whatever it is.
Yeah,
it's
of
not
course.
worth it. So. But 2 kids, dude. Are you ready for that?
You hear that, Albany? Fuck you.
No, stop.
I'm
kidding. I love the funny.
I'm kidding.
Are you ready for the 2 kids, though?
Yeah, man. I'm stoked.
That's what is it? 2-year gap? 3-year gap? What do we got?
Not even. No, it's going to be like a year and a half. Like,
how long were you guys trying? And by trying, I mean how long were you coming in your wife before it worked?
So, dude,
it's always funny when people say like, "Oh, me and my wife are trying for a kid." It's like, well, thanks for letting me know you're coming inside of your wife.
I'm being 100% serious here. On both times, the first attempt. I'm not exaggerating.
Super swimmers.
So Rachel hasn't been on birth control in a long time. It like fucks with her body, and she hasn't been on it since I've known her. So we're very careful. We're really careful.
What do you do?
I just pull out on time.
Okay, I was going to say you don't use rubbers, right?
No, with my wife, fuck that, dude.
Well, you said we're just very careful.
Oh no, I meant like,
dude. I actually read somewhere. Listen to this. I actually read somewhere recently that I think pulling out has a success rate of roughly 89%.
Okay.
And condoms have a success rate of about 94%.
Interesting.
So it's only a 5% difference. But then birth control, 99.7%.
Well, there you go, dude.
So birth control is where it's at. So, I mean, for 5 percentage points, it's worth taking the risk. Now, obviously, it's your wife, so you're not worried about STDs, but...
For sure. And also, she knows her cycle, so I could tell there's like certain windows where it's like high risk versus low risk, when she's like ovulating.
Plus, it's also more fun to pull out and play with it, right? Paint the canvas a little.
Yeah, so she, we're in our 30s, so like we were like, hey, let's just, get this thing rolling. And yeah, 2 times.
How old is Rachel, if you don't mind me asking?
36. Yeah, she's mine.
Okay,
Yeah.
are you guys done after this second one?
Probably. If we have one more, I don't think it'll be on purpose. You know what I'm saying?
Okay,
like,
well, you're not thinking about a vasectomy?
I've thought about it.
Dude, I thought about it before they fucking canceled Roe v. Wade. I'm thinking about it even more now.
I've thought about it. I'm not 100% sure I want to stop at 2, though. I mean, I haven't even had my second kid yet. He's only on the way, Like,
well, I mean, I assume it's going to go well. I don't want to jinx it.
Of course. Yeah, of course. But, let's... but all signs are healthy. We're very healthy. I will say the birth the first time was a little stressful. Like, there were a few complications, but our OB was amazing. Everything went great.
What were the complications?
So basically, this is a sign too of like if this had happened like 100 years ago, like she probably would not have survived. Like it's, you know.
You see, that's the thing about this whole Roe versus Wade thing. They always overstep their bounds.
Yeah.
Like it's like, all right, if you care about life, then you have to write the law to have exceptions for the life of the mother.
Yeah.
I mean, because you think about it, like when they have these total bans, some states have total bans on it now.
Yeah.
If you have an ectopic pregnancy or what's it called?
I think it's
ectopic.
That's it. Yeah.
Ectopic pregnancy. It's like the baby's basically stillborn inside of you. The mother could die giving birth to it. It's like, well, then you got to go remove it.
So what happened with us is the whole pregnancy, everything's smooth sailing. Jonah's like moving around. He's hyperactive in there, like moving, dancing, flips. Because at a certain point, the baby
he's
flipped.
Tumbling in there. He's going to grow up to be a male cheerleader.
I learned so much. He does. I'm going to put him in gymnastics class. He loves jumping off the couch now.
It's a good one.
Yeah, he really, and he's so active. But there's a certain point where the baby flips, so the head's down, ready to come out. So that happened. Everything's good. And then his due date comes. He doesn't show up. A week goes by. He's a week overdue. So then they do something where they induce.
It grows so quick. A week overdue, you get granted a fucking pound. It's a whole other.
It's
fucking,
also
it's a whole 20% more baby coming out.
Yeah, dude. And
it's like, oh fuck, man.
Yeah.
You're really gonna ruin my wife. Get out of there, buddy. You almost want him premature a little bit, like make it a little easier there.
And so the options are either C-section, which she didn't want to do unless it was absolutely necessary.
Well, because I've heard that's really tough on the mother in terms of like redoing their abdominal, like all their muscles in their abdomen.
Yeah, they slice your belly open, or a little, like kind of the pelvic area. But so she really wanted to do it naturally. So they give you something called Pitocin, and Pitocin basically. It's like a synthetic way to induce contractions.
Okay.
So the easiest way I can kind of describe of how my assessment of seeing it, what it was like. You played Mario Kart, yeah?
Of course, dude.
Okay, so when you get the like star and you're like in super drive.
Yeah.
So imagine well, not you, but like a woman's vaginal canal is like has a natural push to it. You take the Pitocin and it's like,
dude. How come they're not selling Pitocin for just for fun? Like you pop a Viagra, your wife pops what's it called, Pitocin.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden she's got sucking action, and you got the bone of your life.
Dude, I'm telling you, man, that was not a fun experience for anybody. Okay, so
did you look? Did you go on the other side of the curtain?
There's no curtain. They only do that for C-section.
Oh, really? But did you go down and look at the actual?
I mean, I saw him come out. I didn't get like way up close. But
did you get queasy? Because that would make me fucking feel sick.
No. I mean, listen, dude. The headspace I'm in. Me thinking about like, oh, my wife's asshole and vagina looks weird. That's the last thing in my mind.
Well, what did her asshole have to do with this birth?
Because you're pushing out, so everything is pushing. Sorry, Rachel, for getting.
Yeah, no, I mean, a little prolapse I've seen on the internet, but
yeah, you just see like everything like there's so much pressure.
Yeah. Oh yeah, when it tears.
But I'm thinking about just like my son is arriving. I was just so.
Yeah, I guess it's a little clinical at that point. You have other things on your mind besides the destruction of your wife's vagina.
This is the only. Yeah, dude. Let me put it this way. Have you ever had a moment, I'm sure you have, where as you're in the moment, you're like, I really want to try and savor as much of this as possible. I want to like remember how I'm feeling, what it's like.
Dude, every time I try to do that, I'm even more unsuccessful at it.
Well,
because I've tried to do that with just calm moments, like in the woods, like I want to remember this.
Sure.
Like hold on to it, and it just goes away. But then sometimes your mind just remembers things that like for no reason, it just that moment sticks in your head.
It's weird how the brain works, right?
I mean, we really don't know, dude. We have some idea.
Yeah.
But it's all a guess. I mean, we know more about space than we do the human mind. They don't even understand what consciousness is.
Yeah.
They know like how the brain, like the functions of it and the neurons and how they work, but they don't know how in combination they make you come to life as a person.
You know what, man? And it's like, that's when I look back on history stuff and people are like, oh, these fucking idiots. I'm like, I don't think so. I think that...
Oh, dude, every time period is going to look back at the past and think they're fucking barbarian idiots. I mean, it's just the natural evolution. Can you believe we used to do this? Can you believe we used to do that? Well, no, now that we know better and have other technology and more knowledge. But I mean, I'm not surprised that, the Egyptians thought, a fucking supernova was one of the gods in the heavens, casting a spell on them. Because they had no fucking knowledge of space.
How could they?
They didn't know that the earth revolved around the sun, for Christ's sake. I mean, there's basic things they just didn't get.
Well, I feel like we already do that, but we're definitely going to look back on like the COVID stuff and be like, oh, you guys did what?
Oh my God, dude, fucking democracy might end in the next 2 years.
Yeah.
We'd be like, well, we fucked that up.
Unless Putin launches the nukes and... But real quick, just to finish the whole thing. Yeah. So anyway, he comes out, and then she starts hemorrhaging blood. Like there's a tear, an internal tear.
And the panic sets in.
And it was like a shower faucet of blood. But thank God the OB's there, so he just literally shoved his arm in there, with a glove on.
Stop the bleeding.
And then somebody runs over and they stitch it up, and it was fine. But if we had either done a home birth or if it was not in this day and age, she would have bled out.
See, that's the other thing too. Like, I get like, these homeopaths who want to do things naturally, but you should have a doctor present.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I get like, oh, I want to do a water birth in my house. Fine. Then pay for a private doctor to be there with you in the event something happens. I think about science, like you're going back to COVID. Yeah, follow the science. Well, the science was inconclusive at the time, so they were wrong a lot of the ways away. But science isn't. There is no, we follow the science because the science is always moving.
Yeah.
And a good doctor just says this is the most we know now.
Right.
And it's basically there to cover for it. Like, I get if you like Steve Jobs wanted to try and cure his cancer with natural means. Fine, none of it worked. Now go to medicine.
Yeah.
There's things out there. There's
of course
they're experts. And look, they don't have all the answers, but they have more answers than me or you. It's like do your own research.
But
do my own research. What the fuck do I look like? I left school 20 years ago.
Well, also,
I'm not doing any fucking research. I'm getting an expert to tell me. I don't do my own research when my toilet breaks.
Yeah.
I hire an expert to go fucking fix it.
Of course, dude. And also that just means like you went on YouTube and Google and like you just watched and read.
Oh yeah,
stuff.
because the internet's full of truth.
Yeah.
That's the.
But you know why the reason people don't say that is because they want more funding and power.
Of course.
And if you give any inkling that you might not have all the answers, then you open the floodgates for people to be like, ha, I knew it.
That is the fundamental problem I think with this country. One of them that we all seem to fail to understand.
Yeah.
I feel like in times past, doing the right thing and putting country or your group or your people ahead of yourself was more common. Now, it's like there is no honor in this country. There's no honor system. If you give any American the right to report your taxes on your honor, they're going to cheat.
Yeah.
Doctors, they will overprescribe drugs because they're like, who cares? I'm going to make more money. There's no like. Dude, Tylenol back in the 70s recalled all of their aspirin of their pills.
Somebody died, right?
Yeah, because a couple people died because it was tainted pills.
Yeah,
you could never see that in this day and age. They would just say, "All right, leave them all on the shelves, and we'll pay out settlements because it'll be cheaper than the recall." Yeah. But then you lose your reputation,
right?
And reputation essentially is everything.
Well, I agree with you on a national level. I still do think on like a community level, people do the right thing, but
on an individual level too.
Yeah,
because I mean, in the last election, Brad Raffensperger, the state attorney general over in Atlanta, when Trump called him up to find me 11,000 votes, said go fuck off. Every judge on the 40 cases he brought to in different courts around that, they said this is bullshit. They threw out that case. So individuals can do the right thing, but as a group, Congress. The clergy, a fucking sports team, they cheat. I mean, like, it's just, as a group, people are horrible.
Well, dude, man, yeah, you think about, like, you hear stories, like, about, like, the USA gymnastics team and how they, like, covered for Larry Nassar, the doctor. You know this guy, right? Yeah. And they just, because people were like, I hope it goes away.
It's never, if there's anything we've learned, the cover-up is always more damning than the crime. It's not worse. The crime could be bad, but the cover-up it just makes it so much more salacious.
Of course,
like if the Catholic Church said, "Oh yeah, some of our priests are raping kids. Let's get them all and throw them in jail."
Right.
Problem fucking solved. Order restored, honor restored to the clergy. Now the cover-up made them look like fucking cunts.
I agree with you, but we don't know about the cover-ups that worked because they were covered up.
Yeah.
So we only know the ones that didn't work.
Yeah. So
there might be people who do cover-ups who have gotten away with it in the past and said, "I know what I'm doing. Trust me." And then this is the time it didn't work.
I know. It just seems so exhausting, dude.
Of course, dude. I couldn't do that. I for sure. I'm very aware that like I would never be able to be like a spy or like an interrogator or like anything that involves like manipulating like the truth. I'm too like I
think I could be a spy. I don't know about interrogating people. I couldn't possibly torture. I mean, maybe I could if I got used to it, but like it just grosses me out. Like like
you've seen like Narcos and stuff, right?
Yeah. The violence. I've people that listen know I like the mafia and true crime and all that stuff. So I'm fascinated by it, and like blood and guts doesn't bother me, but it's the opening of the body, the splitting of someone's skull. That would like kind of make me queasy,
Dude,
so I couldn't. I don't think I could torture somebody. I could certainly kill somebody.
Dude, I went down. Yeah, I mean,
could you kill somebody? You think?
Yeah, but
I mean, look, and everybody can kill somebody. Obviously, if someone threatens your child. Yeah. But I'm saying like,
you give me a scenario.
Okay,
give me a scenario.
You wouldn't get caught. You wouldn't go to jail.
But what's the reason I'm killing them?
But someone that you're, really angry at, and cost you whatever, $20,000 in a business deal and fucked you over. And you can get away with killing them and no repercussions when you do
I know
it.
this is almost like the hacky answer, but because I have 2 boys now, no, I don't think I want to be like a role model for them, and I don't think even if I was positive.
See, this is where I differ from a lot of people, dude. I would kill someone for cutting me off in traffic if I knew I could get away with murder.
Me pre-fatherhood,
and I would have no problem with it. And I'd shoot them in front of their kids because I think they're an asshole. I don't give a shit.
Dude. Oh my god!
I mean, a scumbag like that,
yeah, dude. On the Uber here, man, we almost got hit. This fucking asshole in a Porsche, flew right in front of the car, and my guy had to swerve. He's like, "I'm sorry." I'm like, "Dude, it's not you. It's
Yeah, I mean, the drivers out here are the most passive aggressive, and it causes more accidents than not.
But yeah, it is weird. I mean, I for sure could kill someone. I've fantasized about it a couple times.
Oh yeah, I fantasize about it.
Yeah,
sure.
if you own a tow truck, you're top of the list.
That's what I'm saying. If some fucking meter maid gives you a ticket because you're a minute over, it's like if you can get away. If there was no repercussions, you could just put a bullet in the back of his head and drive off and not pay the ticket. I'd do it. Fuck him.
Yeah,
or her. I'm equal opportunity here.
Yeah, sure. Randy will murder women too. Yeah.
No, well, speaking of, dude, I was actually DMing you or texting you about it.
Yeah.
You hadn't seen any of the Dahmer miniseries?
I don't know a lot about Dahmer. I mean, I know that he was a serial killer.
Oh, really? Well,
I know that the headliners are like Gacy, Dahmer, Bundy. Bundy's kind of the OG, right?
Bundy. I feel like Bundy, Dahmer, Gacy. They're like on the Mount Rushmore.
Yeah,
of
I guess the
killers.
original is Jack the Ripper, right?
Yeah, but no one knows who exactly he is, and
you know what I read? They think they don't know because it was probably a woman, and no one
really.
Yeah, because didn't Jack the Ripper kill a bunch of hookers or prostitutes, whatever? And so the new theory is that it was like a rival woman in that world. And no one suspected that a woman was capable of that.
That's one glass ceiling women haven't broken yet.
Serial killers
and mass shootings. Women, step up your game. You know what I'm saying? If you want $1 on instead of 70 cents.
Yeah.
Get to the shooting.
Well, see, that's the thing. Women kill their boyfriends and ex-lovers and stuff, but they don't kill indiscriminately.
Oh yeah, and they also will be with a man who's a killer,
right?
Or a criminal, and get all the benefit. And none of the, El Chapo's wife, she might be the only one that got convicted of a crime.
Yeah.
And she stood quiet. Mm-hmm. But I mean, every mafia boss, every other crime lord, Pablo Escobar's wife didn't do a day in jail, but she lived off of his billions.
Of course.
So how is she not culpable? You can tell me she didn't know what he did?
What's like Ruth Madoff? She tried to play dumb.
Of course.
She was like, I didn't know what Bernie was doing. I mean, that one, I maybe slightly could, I don't know. I don't know if she knows the inner workings of
Well, yeah, but see, that's the thing. Turning a blind eye.
Right.
It's like, you don't want to know.
But yeah, I remember Ruth Madoff, people were wanting to go after her. And then
they should have. Well, because she was living off the money that he stole.
Yeah, I think she lost most of it, but she still had enough to be comfortable.
Well, what they did, what Bernie did wisely, if you buy property in Florida, that's completely exempt from.
Wow.
As your primary resident, if it's your primary resident, it's completely exempt from any settlement you would have to pay. So, you buy an $18 million house in Florida, and they take all your other money. You can still sell the $18 million property and have $18 million.
He just died, I think, right?
Yeah, recently. Apparently, he was well liked in prison because he gave good financial advice.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Could you imagine taking financial advice from a guy who stole that much money?
Yeah, of course, dude. He probably understands. I mean, especially to other criminals.
Good point. Yeah,
I mean, I would.
I bet he helped them to launder money.
That's what I'm saying. If you're already in the game, you're going to go to the guy who laundered more, or what he wasn't laundering, his Ponzi scheme, right?
Yeah, Ponzi scheme.
Yeah, more than anybody else. Wait, tell me about Dahmer. I don't know anything. about him.
So Dahmer. So in the late '80s and early '90s, Jeffrey Dahmer was an infamous serial killer who killed and ate 17 victims over the course of
He ate them too.
Yeah, but the weird experiments.
Did he cook them? Was it?
He cooked them. He ate some of them raw. He drank their blood. He ate their the penis. He ate the genitals, and he would keep the heads as souvenirs. And that's the thing about Dahmer. I mean, I've hunted before. There are better cuts of meat than the genitals on an animal.
Yeah.
If I was going to eat a human being, I'd start with a glute, maybe a thigh.
Dude,
you don't eat chicken dicks, right? You eat chicken thighs.
I also don't think that Dahmer was eating people for the flavor. You know what I'm saying? I'm pretty sure he was
it's a little bit more macabre than that.
If you had to eat if we got stranded somewhere and I died, maybe not me because I'm sitting next to you, but someone, right?
Yeah, Harrison, our producer.
Right. And you had to eat some, what body part are you going for first?
I mean, you go for the fleshiest, best cuts. I mean, on ungulates, it's like back straps and their hindquarters where all the muscles are. With us, it's going to be our thighs and our ass.
I was just thinking
So basically,
calves,
if you want to survive, the best meat to eat is ass. Oddly enough.
Ass,
if you trapped in the Peruvian Andes, like those guys on the plane, start by eating ass.
Yeah,
and not the asshole people, the ass cheeks.
The cheeks, yeah.
The hole is a sphincter, so it is a muscle, so you can eat it.
That's dessert.
Yeah. Yeah, and you start with a fat friend because the meat's nice and marbled.
Yeah, that makes sense. Oh man.
Yeah, but the Dahmer thing, the miniseries is interesting.
It's on Netflix.
Yeah, it's like an 8 or 10 part series. I'm about halfway through. First of all, the acting is fucking incredible.
Who's in it?
Richard Jenkins plays Dahmer's dad. I forget who plays Dahmer in it.
Okay,
I'm sorry about that, but he's the guy who plays that role is crushing it because watching it, you feel uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Like you feel how awkward he is. Like it's like hard to watch, which in my opinion is a sign of a great movie because it elicits that feeling.
Yeah.
I felt the same way about like Spotlight, the same way about watching Dope Sick.
Yep.
It was hard to get through because I wanted to kill every clergy member who raped kids. It was hard to get through Dope Sick because the Sackler family should be in jail.
Do you have HBO?
Yeah.
Okay. Have you seen We Own the City?
Not yet.
So John Barenthal plays the main dirty cop. And like I won't spoil it for you, but this is like public record. He got 25 years in federal prison for his crimes. Same kind of thing. His acting in that role was incredible.
Yeah.
And you're watching him, you're like, this motherfucker, dude. Like you're watching what he's doing to these people, like planting guns on people and sending them to prison for life to get himself out of like an infraction.
Dude, I think that's worse than murder. In many ways, because ruining an innocent person's life. And not even ending it, like just sending someone to jail for life.
Yeah,
it's basically torture.
Yeah,
and they're innocent, so it would almost be kinder if you just shot them in the head.
Sure, dude.
Because that's a lot less miserable of a way
they
out.
have to sit and suffer through. Have you heard of Long?
Yeah, and then no one believes them. I'm innocent. Get the fuck out of here.
You heard of Long Shot? This documentary called Long Shot.
Oh, the one with the guy at Dodger Stadium. Right?
Yes.
Yeah.
He was charged with murder. DA was like on a rampage, convinced it was him, and only because Curb Your Enthusiasm happened to be filming that same night in Dodger
Larry David saved a man.
Yeah, he was in the crowd, and that was able to prove that he was innocent.
That's fucking amazing, dude. It's
wild,
amazing.
Right? But wait, what? Didn't something happen where like the LGBT?
Yeah. So getting back to Dahmer, this is why I brought it up.
Yep.
So, like I said, I'm halfway through, and in addition to all the creepy murder stuff, there's a lot about Dahmer's sex life and sort of how he got this way.
Gay, I'm guessing?
He was a gay guy when it wasn't fashionable
Right.
or cool to be gay or allowed even in Wisconsin and Ohio.
Was he gay or he just fucked everybody?
No, he was gay.
Okay,
but he was a serial killer on top of that. So like he would track down. I think he killed all men.
Okay.
He would like attract in gay men, murder them and have sex with their dead body, then eat their body parts.
Oh my God, dude.
He also, was poor and couldn't hold down a job, so he was living in a black neighborhood, and most of his victims were young black men. A lot of them underage.
Wow.
So in the show on Netflix, they have a lot of scenes about about him cruising the gay bars and his relationships with gay men before he killed them. And there's definitely a lot of undertones about like the race aspect of it, which. That last part I feel is a little, not necessarily forced, but they play it up.
Yep.
Because there's one cop who makes it seem like Dahmer was targeting black men.
Yeah.
But even the character says, he's like, why'd you kill so many black men? He's like, well, that's the neighborhood I lived in. He was just poor and lived in a black neighborhood and killed what was around him. He had killed white men.
But it also makes
it's not like he chose only black guys.
Right.
And also maybe his sexual inclination was black guys. It's almost like they're making him seem racist for killing black guys. But in his sick mind, he loved black men, so that just happened to be his victim.
Listen,
you know what I'm saying? Like, if he loved white men, he would have killed more of them.
If there's anyone who needs to be defended as a non-racist, it's Jeffrey Dahmer, okay?
And I equal opportunity killer?
Yeah, dude. It's so funny.
But on top of that, what happened today is Netflix took a bunch of shit from subscribers because you could tag the videos and like put them in categories.
Yeah.
And they put Dahmer in the LGBTQ category, and there was like an outrage over it. So they removed Dahmer from the LGBTQ category. But I'm like, wait a minute. You can't, the gay community can't claim and not claim who they want.
Yeah, I'm with you.
You know what I'm saying?
Dude.
Like,
you got to take it all, man.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, like Bill Cosby's still black. You know what I'm saying? Like Michael Jackson's still black. R. Kelly's still black.
Listen,
the black community didn't jettison them.
I'll speak for my own group, okay?
Bernie Madoff.
Am I happy that Jeffrey Epstein was a Jew? No, obviously not.
But obviously he was a Jew.
I can't get out of it. It's like, unfortunately, yes, he was one of us. We're not proud of it.
Yeah.
It is what it is, guys.
I know. See, and it's funny. Like Jeffrey Dahmer somehow got like booted out of the gay community for his actions. But white people just still take, like, oh yeah, he's white guy. They just take that L to the face.
Well, we're such white is just such a generic Well,
it's also gotten vastly more broad in my lifetime.
Yeah.
Like when I was a kid, white was like white Anglo-Saxon Protestants.
Right.
And now white includes everyone who's not black, Hispanic, or Native American.
Right.
Or gay, which is crazy.
Or Asian.
Somehow gay people get out of the race card.
I know.
Like, oh, I'm gay.
Well, that's what I remember when
you still have a race.
Yeah. I remember when I first learned.
Although I question that, are you gay before you're like? I would love to ask a black gay guy. Are you black first or gay first?
So I think it depends on the circumstance because I'm guessing it's like which one made your life harder.
Or maybe not necessarily harder, but just which one has had a bigger impact on your overall.
But what I mean is like, are you getting? Like you might have been an affluent black guy who never had to deal with police hassling, but you had people in your community that weren't open-minded to your sexual proclivities.
Yeah.
Or, what I'm saying? So probably the gay was more of a factor in your life than
I've had conversations just about that same kind of thing with friends in that, let's take the term the black experience.
Sure.
I don't think there's any such thing as the black experience.
Of course not, dude.
Because
it's insane.
Because, Tiger Woods, who was a superstar since he was 5.
Yeah.
Has nothing in common with a black kid in inner city Chicago. Tiger Woods has more in common with people who grew up in country clubs because he grew up in a country club. So his blackness and that inner city youth blackness in Chicago are two different things.
Yeah.
I have more in common with Puerto Ricans in New York City than Puerto Ricans in New York City have with Puerto Ricans in Puerto Rico. Because I grew up with them.
Yeah.
So my experience is similar. So it's really a proximity thing, not a race thing. I'm Dominican.
Oh, it's Dominican. I'm sorry.
It's not a race thing. It's really a community thing.
Yeah. Do you feel like a sense of Dominican identity or not really?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. I mean, I grew up eating the food. My father only spoke the language. He learned English with us. My grandparents are still, can't speak English.
You speak Spanish?
Very little.
Yeah.
Because my father learned English with us.
Right.
But, I grew up in a very Hispanic community.
Sure.
I identify with inner city New York more than anything else. I know what I look like, but that's the other thing too. Nowadays, you can't judge a book by its cover. Unless you're woke, then you can judge everyone by what they look like.
So funny.
It's like,
right.
Don't judge me because I'm a woman or I'm gay or I'm this or that. It's like, oh, but because I'm a woman or I'm gay or I'm super woke, white knighting, I can judge you because I look like a fucking lacrosse player. So they just assume I am one. It's like, well, you're doing exactly what you espouse not to.
If someone's doing that shit to your face, all you say is like, why would you assume I'm? I would just be like, why would you assume I'm white? Why would you assume I'm a man? Why would you assume I'm straight?
Yeah.
I just say it, and then be like, But what I was going to ask you, or not ask you, I was going to say in response to that. I agree with you. I hate, especially around like election season, like the black vote's doing this, the Hispanic vote's doing that. It's like, dude, that is such an insane thing to say.
Well, they proved, especially with the Hispanic vote, they lost.
It's
the
not
Democrats lost ground on that.
Yeah, it's not a homogenous group of people.
Yeah.
Stop.
How racist is that of the left to think that Hispanics should vote Democrat? It's like, do you know how diverse different Hispanic cultures are?
Yeah, dude.
Somebody from Costa Rica and somebody from Spain have two completely different cultures,
dude.
But well-to-do liberal white Americans think that they're the same. It's like, they're not the same.
Even more wildly different. Two people from the same city in Mexico. One just got here. One's been here for 5 generations.
Yes,
you know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah. But again, they're judging a book by its cover. It's like, if he looks like that guy, he's going to vote like that guy. No, how he feels or she feels determines how they vote, not what they look like.
Right. I think it's very convenient old school media like polling tactics, but I don't. If 2016 and 2020 taught us anything, it's like that shit is fading in relevancy exponentially fast.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I know. It's fucking wild. I mean, have you been keeping up with all the politics of the world and what's going on? I haven't spoken much about it on the podcast in a while just because
I'm pretty well versed. I'm pretty well versed. I mean, I'm politically homeless. I was like dancing with the libertarian ideas for a minute.
Yeah, but they're too extreme.
That's my thing, dude. It's
they have no common sense.
I like
no regulations. Like, well, you need some.
Right.
You can't just the fire department can't just selectively decide to put out a house fire.
So that's the thing. It's like, and some of the theories of what in an ideal world I do like, but in practicality, like, anyone can have any weapon they want whenever. It's like, come on, man. That's a little nuts.
Scud missiles should remain the property of the U.S. government. You shouldn't be able to get a howitzer.
Like dude, it's like if my neighbor can afford an F-16, I don't want him to have one. Come on, dude. Like, this is insane. Like,
I know, but the thing about being the politically homeless, I think most of the people in this country, because there was 157 million votes cast in the last election. And there was like 90 million people who decided not to vote. So a third of the country who could decided to fuck this. And that's really the biggest party out there. And I think what happened is both parties just completely abandoned what they used to stand for.
Yeah.
So like if you were a classic liberal, now you're like center right. If
Right.
you were a classic,
That's where I'm at
If
right
you were
now.
a classic Republican, now you're like center left. It's like, what the fuck just happened? Like, how? They moved the goalpost on everybody.
This is my theory, and I didn't make this up on my own. It's from a combination of like reading some books and listening to some experts. It's been sort of a combination of the media and what is the sensationalism of what the internet has turned into, combined with how our primary system works. And if like a lot of states, if you're not registered in the primaries for a specific party,
the primaries drive who gets in the general,
Right.
and the primaries make insane people get in the general elections.
so that's
no
why-
one in the middle can win in a primary because only your side is voting, and only the most extreme
Right.
of your side is going to vote.
and that's why lunatics like Marjorie Taylor Greene and like whoever else, right?
Or AOC,
Or
on the
Ilhan-
other side,
like Ilhan Omar, whoever.
Yeah.
That's why they end up getting in, because then when it gets to the general, all you're left with is like this WWE character version of a politician.
It really is, dude.
Dude, I mean, even
really
right now.
is.
So I live in Georgia.
Herschel Walker is running for fucking Senate.
Dude, so I've been because I kind of have given up on national politics, but I try to keep. I mean, Congress and Senate is national, but I'm trying to do a little bit of like research and know about my local politicians. I'm making it a point. This guy, Herschel Walker, he said in an interview recently, he was quoted saying that he didn't want to debate his opponent, Warnock, because the other guy was too smart and would make him look stupid. He said that on record.
But the funny thing is, he said that on record, and it's not going to cost him any votes.
No,
because being dumb is now not something that will get you that will lose you an election. I mean, Donald Trump started. He said famously, "I love uneducated voters."
I will. Yeah, that's true. I mean, but I will say I'm not a believer that like degrees necessarily mean you're like intelligent in the way that like it's relevant to governing society.
No,
Like,
but I'm saying if you can't debate someone on current events,
Sure, of course.
I mean, we're talking about current events here. I'm not asking Herschel Walker to solve y equals mx plus b. I want to know what his position is on fracking in the state of Alabama.
I'm pretty confident he has CTE. I feel like
every single NFL player's brain who's been inspected has it.
Dude, not only that, did you know? I don't know how much you know about this guy. I've looked into him. He lied to his own campaign staff about his illegitimate kids, and they were like, "Herschel, we need to know about this so we
can cover it up for you."
Right, basically. And then one came out of the woodwork, and he's like, "Okay, fine." And they're like, "Is that it?" He's like, "That's the last one." They're like, "You're sure?" He's like, "I promise." And then another one showed up. He has multiple kids out of wedlock with different women that he hid from his own campaign staff.
See, my problem isn't that he had multiple kids out of wedlock. My problem is that again he lied about it.
That's the thing.
I slept around as a football player. I fucked up.
It's not.
We have all done that. How many people have illegitimate kids in this country?
For
you
sure.
can identify with that, dude. Joe Biden, people almost like him a little bit more because he dealt with addiction in his family.
Yeah,
like he knows the loss of the.
Yeah, I'm not judging that, but to your point, it's like, but the fact that you're not owning it shows that you're trying to hide who you are for the sake of winning an election, which makes me distrust you.
That's true. That's one thing I'll say about Donald Trump. He's a piece of shit and he owns it. You know what I'm saying? In a weird way, he really does cop to being a kind of a scummy guy.
Some people freak out about this, but like I'm not a Trump fan. I don't like him, but I don't think he's always the worst option. Like I'm not like honestly, right now, if it was him versus Biden, I don't know, man. I might vote for Trump.
No, I see. I wouldn't because I'm less concerned about his policies. I'm more concerned about his complete disregard for American traditions and norms and democracy.
That's true.
Like if he just followed the norms and had bad policies, that's within the realm of normal political behavior. Like, dude, I think Ron DeSantis is as far right as Donald Trump, but Ron DeSantis isn't insane.
Yeah,
he's not trying to end democracy. Donald Trump, on the other hand, is doing that. Like, if Donald Trump was just a Republican, that's fine. But he's a Republican who wants to be king, and that's the problem.
Well, he's only a Republican because that was the vehicle to get him.
He would have been a Democrat if the Democratic Party was in shambles when he wanted to run. He just totally flipped party just because they look easier to take over, so I'll take them over.
Dude, that is how badly George W. Bush and Dick Cheney fucked the Republican Party. That it like was in such ashes afterwards that like Trump came in. Dude, think about it, man. Like they tried to run Jeb, and they
had enough. Enough of the Bush.
Trump fucked him up early on.
Jeb was supposed to be the prodigal son.
Yeah,
he was George Bush Senior's. He was going to be the next president. Yeah. And then old George H.W. snaked him on it.
Yep.
I don't know. Jeb kind of looks like a thumb.
He sucks, dude. Well, you think about it. Like I know a lot of people. I grew up outside of D.C., so I know a lot of people. Quantico is a big military base near where I lived. So I know a lot of folks who've been in the service and are like classic Republicans from like early 2000s era who despise the Bush administration because they lost family members in Iraq and Afghanistan, or they came back fucked up, and they look at like what was the point of this? And now the truth is coming out like how much we were lied to, how nothing has gotten better from those wars. That's the only thing where I start to drift into the libertarian camp, where they really bring light about like our foreign policy is destroying our country. It's literally killing people all over the world. Yeah. It's bankrupting us.
Which is crazy to think that the Republicans are now like the party of, you know, the non-hawkish party.
Right.
Because they used to be famously want to kill people overseas.
Yeah.
I mean, their dick would get hard to launch a missile.
I mean, dude.
Now they want no business, America first and all this. But that's the thing. I mean, like, unfortunately, again, each side isn't calling out their own side. Like I know a lot of what I call Republican classic people out there, which is their traditional Republicans, like Mitt Romney style Republicans, Barry Gold, you know, it's fucking old school, you know, fucking small government, that kind of shit. Yep. That will still vote for Donald Trump just because he has an R after his name, even though they disagree with a lot of what he's doing. And it's like, all right, now you got to put your country ahead of your party. At some point, you got to be like, I don't like, you know, Joe Biden, but he's not trying to. He's not openly saying he's going to contest every election on fraudulent terms. You know, like you have to put the country ahead a little bit here.
I think with folks like that, they're just looking at like particular issues that they like. Maybe it's like pro-life or something, and they're just like, well, this party still is more in favor of this one issue that I like.
Yeah.
I mean, the problem is, dude, I don't know how it's going to get better. I don't see
I don't see the way out because I mean, like, in order for this to, you have to take the temperature down first and foremost. So each side can't hate the other side.
Right.
You can disagree with it. That's how politics used to work. You would disagree with the other side. But at the end of the day, we were all still Americans.
Yep.
Now, each party looks at the other side as evil, unremittingly fucking corrupted, and no way back, and they hate them, and they're not true Americans. Like Republicans think Democrats aren't true Americans, and Democrats think the same about them. It's like that's not that you can't come back from that.
But what I will say, and this is what I like about being in Georgia now, is I feel like I get a mix of both groups. I think that is way less prevalent with like people to people.
On a day-to-day basis, when you go to the fucking, go to your favorite coffee shop and you order, coffee from your barista, they're probably some liberal with a fucking mustache and the tire with the bike with the big tire in front. And you're a Republican, you don't even know it, and it's a pleasant exchange, and vice versa.
Exactly.
But so on a human level, it's fine. But then once you start talking about these topics, people get a bug up their ass and hold on to dear ideas like that.
So I'll quote or paraphrase rather. There's this comic who's a podcaster named Dave Smith. He's a big libertarian. I like about 70%, 75% of what he talks about. But he made a great point I was listening to, and he said, if you think about like human history, right? In human history. Like you and I, right? Or let's say I came from a Jewish background. You were raised Catholic, right?
Yep.
Like a couple hundred years ago, we were supposed to fight to the death.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? And now it's like
crusades and shit.
Today people don't do that over religion in the West, at least, but they do it over politics. They do, and it's because one group is trying to rule over the other group. It's because they're fighting for who gets to make the other person's life hell.
Well, that's really what it's about now in both parties. It seems like just who can dunk on the other party harder.
Yeah.
It's not like what you can get done, or it's like I want liberal tears. I want conservative tears. That's you just want to piss the other side off. It's not about doing anything good for the country. It's about pissing the other side off.
You know the Daily Wire. You know that. Yeah. So Ben Shapiro's thing. His mugs say leftist tears on the mug.
Yeah. So it's like, well, come on. Like you can't fucking run a country based on just pissing off the other side.
Yeah.
All right, let's get to some news here.
Let's do it.
That flew right by.
Let's do it.
All right. Where do you want to go first? You want to go designer vagina?
Ooh.
Or daughter sleeps with father's best man?
Did she have a designer vagina? Wow.
Yeah, let's go. Let's start there.
Okay.
So a daughter sleeps with a father's best man at the wedding, and dad doesn't know.
He does now.
Yeah, well, that's what I said. Because they name her in this. Influencer Stella Barry said it was the first time meeting her father's friend who had flown over from Sweden to be his best man at his wedding. The 23-year-old described him as a smoke show and said she was instantly attracted, and the feeling was mutual. After the ceremony, she was invited back to his Airbnb, where they ended up sleeping together. What did she have to say for herself? She said, "My dad is having his wedding to his now wife, Montana, so I flew there with my best friend. I knew my best man, my dad's best man was Swedish, but I didn't know he was so hot, and I had never met him before. Before the wedding, I'm sitting in the front row, and he's a groomsman, and he's standing right in front of me. He kept making eye contact, and there was so much tension that it just had to happen." Now, question for you is...
Yes, I will subscribe to her OnlyFans so I can watch the video. I would love to see it.
If your daughter slept with your best friend, I assume it's his second wedding.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Oh, yeah, it could be.
How would you feel about that?
It would be fucking weird, obviously. I would not be stoked. I mean, I guess if I had to pick one best friend, I'm thinking about like one of my buddies from high school. He's like a really good guy, but I would be. I think. I mean,
she is 23, so it's not like she's 15 or anything.
Yeah, I was assumed. I was assumed it was like way into adulthood. I mean, I wouldn't like it, but I guess I would try to think like it could have been worse, like better that.
Yeah, it could have been worse. Your best man could have been your son.
Now was he? Yeah. Oh my God.
She fucked her brother. I mean, that's popular.
Was he married though? Was the guy married?
No, he was single.
Oh, then yeah. I mean, I'm not happy about it, but hey, you know,
would you be more upset with your daughter or your buddy for sleeping with your daughter?
Probably my
because they both should have known better.
Probably
right?
my buddy. Probably my buddy.
Yeah, he's an older guy.
Older guy.
But also, I feel like you can identify with him. You know, it's like, hey, the chance of banging a 23-year-old.
Yeah,
especially if your daughter's a smoke bomb.
Yeah. So if I have a daughter, I hope she's attractive. But I have 2 boys so far. I don't know. But I wouldn't like it. I certainly prefer that that's not the case. But I could imagine worse scenarios. I would try and look for the positive.
What, that they would like hopefully get married and you could be like brother-in-law to your best friend?
That or like
father-in-law to your best friend?
Yeah, or like that, but also like she doesn't sound like she doesn't do that without a lot of like reckless activity, you know? So
well, it sounds like she has other it sounds like she sleeps around quite a bit. If she's fucking dudes at the altar.
I'm saying like, if my daughter's someone who's like really I'm not judging. I am kind of judging actually. Fuck that.
Yeah,
like she's my daughter, right? I'd rather her be with like my best friend than like some guy who's like
a stranger,
a drug dealer, or like some.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
Some guy's an absolute asshole.
Like at least a guy that I like know is a good guy, but I still wouldn't like it.
Yeah. What if your friend was an absolute scumbag?
Then I would be like, I'm gonna fucking. Then I would murder someone.
Yeah. What if it was me? What if I was the guy your daughter slept with 20 years from now?
I don't like. I don't want to picture that, Randy. That's weird. I don't. No, I think you're a great guy, but it's just like I don't know, man.
I don't like the idea of my friend. You know,
because you're already what 39.
Yeah, so I would be 50.
You'd be 50, and she would be what 20,
21, 22, something like that.
Yeah. Well, I guess by then, I don't know. That's hard pass.
Hard pass on that. All right, let's get to the vaginoplasty.
Sure. That is so weird to me, the vaginoplasty thing. I mean, I've seen a fair number in my day.
Yeah, so it says, designer vagina surgeon reveals top reasons women come to him.
What are they?
Yeah, I'll tell you. Dr. Umberto Tosi, who specializes in labiaplasty surgery, has done 300, has operated on over 300 women during his career.
Wow.
He says, there's not a lot of symmetrical cases during surgery, so I try to be symmetrical. I want a natural aspect. They want a natural aspect, and want it to look, tight and clean. He removes anywhere from 2 to 6 centimeters of like extra labia minora from each.
Sure.
And he says a lot of it is, for women who just want it to be aesthetically pleasing, and then the other half of it are women who actually work as models and they want to look better in a swimsuit or whatever.
I mean, I don't know. I've never seen a vagina and been like, "Oh, you got to fix that girl." Like
that's what I'm saying, man.
That's the last thing.
I think women are getting vagina surgery just like they do, just the same reason why they buy, certain clothes and shoes, to make other women feel jealous and impress them. Because as a guy, it's like, yeah, there's some, neater looking vaginas than others, but pussy is fantastic any way you slice it.
Of course, dude. I've seen a few where
no pun intended.
I've seen a few where the inner was like really kind of coming out, and it was a little bit.
What do you mean the inner?
The inner labia.
Okay.
There's outer labia.
The minora versus the majora?
Labia minora, yeah. Okay. Where it looks like, this is kind of gross, but like you ever go to the deli counter and the beef gets shaven up? There's like some of that hanging.
Little
like
flaps.
It's like, whatever. Who cares?
Yeah, you suck on that.
I'm just happy to be here.
I know, right?
I'm just glad I got an invite, Yeah,
I'd be more put off if she had like a raging, completely unkempt bush.
Yes.
And I mean like completely unkempt. I mean like untouched.
Right.
Since,
you know what else I don't
1996.
understand? I don't get is asshole bleaching. Like I've never seen an asshole and been like, this should be whiter. Like, well, who?
Yeah, that is right.
I've never, and I don't. I mean,
yeah, I also don't get down there with a little pen light to really to inspect the color.
Like, unless you're like, even if you're a porn star, like, who cares? I don't know.
Well, porn stars, the lighting has to be right.
Yeah, I guess that's true.
They want to make sure they're selling DVDs here.
Yeah, no, nobody's buying DVDs anymore.
Well, yeah, well, sorry.
The
streaming.
Yeah, they want the OnlyFans signups.
Exactly. All right, there was one more I wanted to get to. Where the fuck is it? Is it the billionaire bunkers?
Oh, Jesus. Yeah.
Where is it? Oh, here it is. This is the one I wanted. More betrayal within the family.
Okay.
My mom is pregnant with my boyfriend's baby. It's the ultimate betrayal.
My mom is pregnant with my boyfriend's baby. Holy fuck. That, dude, I've seen this scene it's on Brazzers, dude. Okay. No.
Yeah, so a woman who let this go on TikTok, which now has 3.8 million views or over that, she said, after I heard that my mom was pregnant with my boyfriend's baby, my soul left my body, and everything came to an end after that. I wasn't ready for it. She learned the news while vacationing in Mexico while her boyfriend was at their shared home. Jesus. It all started when I was on a girls' trip in Mexico. Roe v. Wade just got overturned that morning, and I was calling all the women in my life to see how they were handling it. When I got to my mom, she was obviously distraught and crying. I didn't think anything of it because she's a woman raising another woman in America, and she knows multiple people who've had an abortion and who are affected by it. However, she soon realized that the Supreme Court's abortion crackdown might not be the cause of her mom's distress. When she called her mother 2 days later, she was still crying, and her mom ended up telling her, I'm pregnant, and it's with your boyfriend.
Fuck, dude. Oh.
And apparently she's in a state where you can't get an abortion. That's why she's flipping out about it. How do you handle that?
It's gonna be weird at Christmas.
I think you got to tell mom, hey, fucking, get over to the next nearest state and abort that thing.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, well, I wonder. Back to the kind of other question, like, who is she more angry at, mom or the boyfriend? Probably the mom, right?
Yeah, the mom.
That's
should know
more
better.
of a betrayal.
The mom's an adult. To fucking betray your daughter. I mean, listen, a guy cheating on his girl is pretty fucking par for the course. Sure, yeah. A mom sleeping with your guy is Jerry Springer type shit.
And also, like, not only that, but then doesn't even make him wear a rubber. Like, I'm assuming,
obviously. What do you think? She stole the condom out of the basket?
Like, they do occasionally break. Like it is.
No. It sounds like they were fucking.
And then you also have to assume it wasn't the first time, right? Like if she got pregnant, it's very unlikely it was one and done. It could happen. I mean, listen, I got my wife pregnant the first try, but yeah, dude, fuck that, man. That's so weird because it's also like your sibling / you're the aunt.
Yeah, it's your sibling, and could be like your stepchild if she stays with the boyfriend.
Man,
it's crazy, dude.
Dude, it would be even weirder if the mom and the boyfriend get together, right? If the boyfriend leaves,
I know, and then you have to see him every day. That's got to be the hardest part. Also, like, there's a situation where it's a woman's choice, but the woman involved here has no choice, right? I mean, like her mom is the one pregnant, and her boyfriend's the one that did it, and she's kind of caught in the middle. So like, it's funny, like it'd probably the only time a woman approached another woman about a pregnancy and asked the all-important question a guy asks. So what are you gonna do? So what are you gonna do? Because if you've gotten a girl pregnant, that's the first question a guy asks. What are you gonna do? Because a guy has no choice.
That's so funny. Yeah. Oh, you're so right, dude. Yeah. Man,
Mom, what are you gonna do?
Well, I feel bad for that kid if he or she shows up because this is going to be a known thing. Was it New York Post?
Yeah, New York Post.
They do the best stuff, dude. I'll tag you in New York Post things, and I'm like, Randy, this is perfect for the pod. Yeah.
It's the best. I don't know, man. I feel like would that be? I think it's weirder that it's almost weirder to me that a mother did it because you could see. Again, going back to if you slept with your best friends, if your father's best friend, you can see I could see how guys, being a guy, especially like, 23-year-old, he's throwing a move on you. It's hard to resist. That's a lot more common than a mother betraying their own child.
Yeah.
Dads betray their kids far more frequently than mothers.
You're right. Yeah. It is like it hurts more from mom, for sure. For sure. Man. Dude, how long until they're on Maury, dude? I mean,
they canceled Maury, dude.
Oh, they did?
Yeah. Well, he's over. He's done, dude.
Oh. Wait, did he get canceled?
Well, his show just...
but he wasn't... He didn't have like a Me Too thing.
No.
Now canceled...
He's still married to Connie Chung. I think he's got goodwill points for being married to her.
Oh, yeah. Because the term canceled now. I didn't know what you meant. Like, when you say Maury's canceled?
No, his show is canceled. Well, the show is called Maury. So Maury the show... Maury the person is alive and well. Maury the show is canceled. Yeah,
we need a new phrase for what canceled. It's too confusing, dude.
I know. Well, dude, when you were a kid and you were you had a sick day from school, what was the TV lineup you used to watch?
Well, I do remember trying to see scrambled porn when there was like the scrambled channel. You remember that?
I love that's your first thought.
Dude, this is how I know how young someone is, like a millennial. To me, you're not a true millennial unless you remembered scrambled channels.
Yeah. Or you remember getting like nudie mags in a paper bag like that you found
in the woods or something. Right.
Or like under your uncle's bed or something.
Yep. If it wasn't that, I remember Maury. There were a lot of those like court shows. I don't remember those as well. I do remember when I was a little kid, I was really into Saved by the Bell, Family Matters.
But these were all Saved by the Bell was during the day. Yeah. Family Matters was more of a TGI Fridays. TGIF.
Right. Thing. I don't have any other shows that really stand out.
See, we used to watch a lot of the game shows. We used to watch
Price is Right.
Yeah. We used to watch Price is Right for sure. Family Feud we loved.
It's a good one.
But then we would watch some of the talk shows. Maury, Jerry Springer.
Springer's
and here's an old one from when I was even younger. Richard Bay.
I don't even
Do you
know.
remember Richard
No,
Bay?
no.
Oh, my God.
I never even heard of
dude,
Richard Bay.
The Richard Bay show.
Wow.
And then even before that, the Morton Downey Jr. show.
I don't even know that.
I mean, I'm a little bit older than you.
Yeah.
They were Richard Bay, I think, was more popular in the Northeast, but Maury,
you've
Morton
got like
Downey
5
Jr. was
years on
everywhere.
me. Yeah, so
but Richard Bay, it was Richard Bay was Jerry Springer before Jerry Springer was Jerry Springer.
Yeah. I remember I found out that most, if not all, of Springer's people were like scripted and like.
I didn't want to hear it. It was kind of like how a wrestling fan doesn't want to know that that's fake. It's like I don't want to know. I want to believe this is real.
But then when you go back and look at it, and now that I wouldn't say I work in Hollywood, but I've been in the. You're out here too. Like you're around
how producers work.
Yeah, you're like
they'll drum up a beef.
Yeah, you're like, oh, this makes sense. Well, I'll tell you, dude, when I first got out here, I did some of those court shows, and it's just, they just have you improv.
What do you mean you did the court shows?
Like those courtroom shows, they pay the audience to be there, and so I could see that like those are fake beefs. Some of them are real. Some of them are real.
They pay the plaintiff and the defendant?
So there's two versions. There's one version where it's like you and I improvise a scene,
okay,
and that's complete horseshit. The other one is like they look through small claims court filings,
pull those up,
and they'll call you up and be like, hey, we'll pay for you to like come on the show. And if you win, we'll make sure you get the money. And if you lose, there's nothing. You don't lose anything. So people say yes because it's like there's no loss.
And also people just want to be on TV.
Right.
People will do anything to be on TV.
But that's how they just look through for like juicy cases, and then
Nice. Here's the last question I got for you. You talking about The Price is Right? Who doesn't love The Price is
Yeah.
Right? Obviously, Bob Barker beats the shit out of Drew Carey.
Sure. Yeah.
What was your favorite game that they played on The Price is
man.
Right? There's only one answer to this. There's only one right answer to this.
I'm trying to remember the game. I mean, the spinning wheel is always fun, but that's not necessarily a game.
But the game, yeah.
I don't even remember.
I'll tell you right now, the best one, dude, Plinko.
Oh, when
where you drop the fit. I mean, that was.
Yeah.
I want to play that game right now.
Yeah.
I don't know why that game just made me so excited to watch it.
Have you ever been? I went once in person.
No.
It was okay. I mean, it's like a one and done thing, but it was cool to be there. Yeah. But I went with Drew. I was not old enough. Yeah.
Dude, my favorite Family Feud host is Richard Dawson, the guy who used to kiss all the contestants.
I don't even know that guy.
Oh, this is back in the. He was even before my time. So before Steve Harvey, before the fucking bearded guy from Home Improvement, before Louis Anderson. There was a guy named Richard Dawson in the 70s.
Yeah.
You know, platform shoes, sideburns, smoking a cigarette during the fucking taping. His thing was he would kiss every single female contestant on the mouth. That was like it was a catchphrase gimmick.
What year was this?
From like 72 to 81 or something like that.
Yeah,
he would kiss them right on the mouth, dude. In front of their husbands, in front of their fathers, every single one of them. And no one thought anything of it, dude.
Just goes to
no one thought anything of it.
It really goes to remind you how different things were in the 70s.
That's what I'm saying. Like people think that everyone, not everyone nowadays, but a lot of people this day and age think that, the way it was, we should have thought back then the way we think now. It's like it's impossible.
It's such horseshit.
Like the women would volunteer to kiss him in the mouth, even though it was clearly inappropriate because it was like part of the thing.
Dude,
you know?
Yeah, of course, dude. I mean, people want to cancel John Wayne and shit. It's like, get out of here.
He's already dead. God canceled him.
Yeah.
He's permanently fucking canceled. He's dead. Who gives a shit?
I know. People are so
Also, he was
stupid,
born in 1901. What did you think he thought?
Is that wow?
Yeah. He was born when women couldn't vote. I'm pretty sure he wasn't progressive with his ideas. Back then you could smack a bitch in a movie.
So funny,
remember that shit?
dude.
You just up and crack a girl in a movie.
Yeah.
Get a hold of yourself. Whack whack.
I know.
And that was that's how you keep your woman in check.
Who did Death Wish? Who did those movies?
Oh, Steven Seagal. Charles Bronson.
I've seen movies where he smacks women across the face, but Charles Bronson did that
dude,
shit.
Jimmy Stewart, beloved Jimmy Stewart, smacked women in movies, man. Dude, Sean Connery famously would talk about smacking bitches in real life.
Yeah, well,
That's, one of the fun, it's so inappropriate, the clip, that's kind of what makes it funny. Every once in a while, I'll send it to a friend of Sean Connery on Barbara Walters back in like 93. She challenges him on, you said, sometimes, you're forced to, strike a woman. He's like, well, I don't want to, but sometimes it calls for it. and he explains why and doesn't back down.
Yeah, man.
And he's wrong. But again, at the time of the interview, he was like in his mid 70s.
He's like, whatever.
It was 93.
He's like, dude, I've been James Bond for decades. Fuck off. Like,
look, growth is important. But let's not whitewash history.
Sure.
You know, like,
yeah.
or hold them to our standards.
Of course.
It's like, can you believe that cavemen had to start fire with sticks? Yeah, because they didn't have lighters. It was cave times. Like, can you believe people during Lincoln's time were pro-slavery? Yeah, because back then everyone owned slaves.
Well, dude, I remember like I read something once, and the people were mad that like Lincoln like referred to like slaves as like the N-word problem, but using the full hard R word, obviously. And then it's like, yeah, dude, it was 1864. What do you think he was going to say?
I know, but that even happens now. You're like, think about it. Like if your best friend came out as trans tomorrow and you use the wrong pronoun, you're an asshole.
Sure.
But it's like, hey, sorry, I'm not used to saying your new name yet because it's been your new name for 15 minutes.
Of course.
You know, there has to be a little bit of understanding.
Yeah,
there's a big lack of that. You know, like a lack of goodwill in communication. Like everyone assumes now that whatever you say, they take the worst version of it. When instead of saying, all right, wait a minute, that came out kind of funny. What do you really mean?
Dude,
you know, you clarify yourself.
That's my like worst nightmare, is to be caught on like somebody's cell phone and I like happen to be arguing with like there's somebody cuts me off and it's a woman or a black guy or something, and then it's like, oh, racist, sexist, and it's like, no, I was just mad at the traffic accident.
People have been canceled for saying the N-word in repeating a quote. I saw on a CNN interview
tried to do it with Rogan.
A guy got thrown off the air because he was quoting because they were talking about how the N-word was being removed from Huckleberry Finn. Yeah. And he quoted one of the famous lines in there, saying the N-word, and they threw him off air on live TV. It's like, dude, I was just quoting, just because you don't say the N-word doesn't mean it doesn't exist. You can't erase it from reality.
Dude, that's happened to professors. That's happened to people. College professors have lost tenure.
Dude,
for quoting and
going back to Dahmer, the last thing, going back to Dahmer. Sure, you sent me the article right before we came over here because I was like, I want to talk about this.
Yeah,
there are songs from like Kesha and Katy Perry where there's a lyric that refers to Jeffrey Dahmer. Nothing positive about him, just referring to like, eating ass like Jeffrey Dahmer or something like that.
Yeah,
some line like that.
Sure.
And they like want to like edit her song over it. It's like, all right, first of all, they're not saying anything about him being gay or straight or this or that. It's just a lyric talking about like eating ass, and somehow they're going after her with pitchforks.
Dude, people just love to
Don't we have bigger problems?
Apparently not.
Isn't there an election coming up that might determine the future of this country? Isn't there a war going on in Europe? Shouldn't we be focused on other things?
You know who's not complaining about that shit? The people in Ukraine and Russia, right?
Like my God, dude.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Armenians, they're not complaining because their country's being attacked.
It is a luxury that we get to argue over these things in this country, and people take that for granted even.
They
do. The fact that you can complain about that and make it a national story as opposed to the other myriad of real problems that we have is a luxury that only Americans have. Like I say, go and find me a diversity coordinator in China. I was saying that on another podcast. You can't do it.
Of course.
I'm pretty sure they're not trying to make sure that the casting is even on Russian television because they don't give a fuck.
So funny.
We're all, you know what I'm saying? They don't
We're
give
the only country that does that.
Yeah, and look, and it's a miracle we get along as well as we do, considering how different everyone's culture is in this country.
Well, we'll see how it shakes out.
Yeah, it's just fun doing this, man. As always, what you got coming up? Promote the Highly Unlikely.
Yeah, dude, you just did my show Highly Unlikely. That's going to drop. Randy's episode will be out in 2023, but we're coming back in November. Just look me up at Alex Gettlin. Highly Unlikely. It's a show where I bring on a guest, get them high, teach them about something that seems highly unlikely, but it's 100% true. So we did money laundering for your episode, learned all about the craziness of money laundering. And it's really cool. And I got a lot of different podcast projects. Just follow at Alex Gettlin on all social. I plug everything there. All right, dude. And obviously follow the podcast, as always, at Ready, Set, Blow Podcast. We're up on YouTube now that I'm using the studio. It's costing me an arm and a leg, so go subscribe to that and do me a favor. I'm trying to get my numbers up so I can start to squeeze a little money out of this. Help them out,
thing.
dude. Leave them a review. Leave them a 5-star review.
Review. Follow the podcast. You can follow me at Randy Valerio. This is coming out next week, Alex. So I will be in Dania Beach Improv.
Hell yeah.
And in Sacramento. So if you want to see all my dates, go to jeffdye.com.
Yeah, there you go, dude.
All right, guys. That's it for this one. We love you guys. Peace.